Hello viewers, friends, and subscribers, it's AG, and this is a vlog about, well, where do console fanboys come from? Now, I started thinking about this because the other day I finally beat Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, when I say that, I mean I haven't been playing it for years and finally beat it. I actually finally played a Sonic game, and I totally ignored Sonic as a child. So, this whole vlog is not going to be about Sonic, it's just about being a fanboy and why people choose to be fanboys. Like, where does it come from? Where does it stem from? Now, going back to my childhood, I try to think about, like, everyone had a Nintendo Entertainment System, pretty much. And then what happened was Sega came into the picture. And when Sega came into the picture, they introduced Sonic and his 16-bit graphics and him running really fast, and Sega pushed that as, ooh, this is attitude, and people were drawn to that. And then Super NES came around, and then it became the Sega Genesis versus Super NES. It was like two big powerhouses coming together, fighting their way to the top. And Sega pushed their way over Nintendo back then with Sonic the Hedgehog, and my friends like to spit this in my face, Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat had a blood code, ABACABB. I remember it to this day, people, and that was the code that really pushed Sega over Nintendo for a short period of time back then. And wow, you would not believe on the playground and in the classroom how my friends got into it. Sega versus Nintendo. And actually in the 32-bit era it was bigger with the fanboyism, if you can call it that, because I graduated to N64 and my friends were on PlayStation. And wow, why is 64 better? Because, well, what excuse did I say? Because it's 64 bits. And do we even talk about bits anymore? I think that era is really done, because I don't ever hear people or kids, saying, well, Nintendo Wii's better because it has this many bits, or PS3's better because it's not like it was in the 90s. I mean, the whole thing was about bits and RAM and megs, and like when N64 came out, it pushed all of its games with Pilotwing 64, Mario Kart 64. It's like kind of like pushing in the gamer's face that, wow, like Sony's not 64 bits, like this is better. But people weren't really fooled, because PlayStation had some great games back then, and there were some really heated debates on the playground and when hanging out with your friends, but universally they did agree that there were some Nintendo titles at the time that they all loved, like no matter what. Like even if they hated Nintendo, everybody loved GoldenEye 007. Everybody loved Super Mario 64. So even if you are a fanboy, there are exceptions. But I'm trying to figure out where the fanboy stems from, and I'm trying to realize, why did I really stick with Nintendo all this time? Because I grew up with the NES, I bought a Game Boy, I had a Super NES, went to N64, GameCube, and I'm really looking to get a Wii very soon. Nintendo Wii. And even last year, I was very tempted to get a PS3 or an Xbox 360 because I realized, wow, these consoles have some awesome games. I mean, Resident Evil 5 I still haven't played, and I made a whole video about that last year. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to get a PS3 or Xbox 360. Street Fighter 4, is that on Wii? I don't think it is. And wow, that's another game I would want. There's like the Metal Gear series, very prominent on the PS3. There's a whole bunch of games, I don't want to name all of them, but you see what I'm saying is, Nintendo is still dear to my heart though, and I would still go to Nintendo, especially after going to E3 this year, because Other M, they got Donkey Kong Country Returns, the new Zelda game coming out, and then Mario Galaxy 2, which I haven't played yet. I played the first one, I don't own it. Super Smash Bros. Brawl, like all these games I love. And people like to point out to me that, well, they're just rehashes of all the other, Mario games. It's just a rehash of Mario 64, is a rehash of Mario Sunshine's a rehash. You know what? Not really, but I see what you're saying with that. But see, this is the console fanboy coming out in me, where I'm gonna defend, Mario Galaxy. I mean, if it's such a rehash, why are all the critics saying wow, it's a perfect 10 or a 9.5. Go out and buy it. It's worth it. See, if they thought it was a rehash, they would point it out. So, of course, a lot of people say, who cares what the critics think, yada yada. But again, where does a fanboy come from? It's just, maybe it's loyalty. I don't know, because maybe it just brings me back to a time like when I was a kid, and those fun times, hanging out with your friends, complaining about which console is better, which one's worse, why yours is better. I mean, it's just another way we separate each other by which consoles we own. And if you really think about it, it's really stupid, but when you're a kid, it's fun, and it's what you do, pretty much. If you have something that you especially with guys, it's oh, my Xbox 360 is so much better because of this, and oh, my PS3 is way better because of this, and well, Nintendo Wii is better because of this, and look, people, Xbox and PS3 are copying Nintendo because now they're all doing motion control, I can only assume that's happening on the playgrounds of today, because back then, when I was a kid, it was Final Fantasy VII. That's the reason why to freaking get a PlayStation. That's why Final Fantasy and Square went to PS1, because Nintendo can't even handle it. And of course, Super Mario 64, best game ever made. Ocarina of Time, best game ever made. GoldenEye, best first-person shooter. That's what we did as kids. The problem is that if you're someone my age and you're still doing that, that's where it gets weird. And there are console fanboys in their 20s. I think by that time, you gotta get over it. And that's what really this is about, because the console fanboys of today, of, my age group, still saying Nintendo Wii sucks because PS3 is better. I mean, if you're still doing that, there's a problemo. Just my opinion. I do love Nintendo very dearly, and I would say I'm a Nintendo fanboy, but I only say it out of fun, as in it's just fun to say, because I've been very loyal to Nintendo. I buy their products, and I really, most likely, after thinking about it, probably going to get a Nintendo Wii. Why? Well, because I would enjoy it. They have casual games. I went from a hardcore gamer, and I think I'm kind of getting into the casual gamer category more because, well, I don't have as much time as I once did. When you're a kid, you have all the time in the world, and what you got school, you got your homework, you play video games, and you go to bed. I mean, that was my life as a child, and I think a lot of kids are like that today, but now they got internet and cell phones and a whole bunch of other stuff, and all your time is devoted to video games. It's, you invite your friends over, and, I don't know if you guys have slumber parties or whatever, but, have your friends over and play video games all night, drinking soda and having chips, and it's all good and fun games, but when the older you get, time, kind of takes that away a little bit. And I could be a fanboy in my own way, as in I love Nintendo, and I'll stick by Nintendo because I have fun with Nintendo. But the fanboy, where it derives from, well, it derives when you're a kid, you're out in the playground with your friends, and someone says, well, why do you have a Nintendo Wii? Or why do you have a Super NES? Sega's better. Because Xbox 360 is better. And that's where the debate starts. And you could either, stick with the console that you love, or, well, just say, you love video games. Do I love video games? Yeah, I do. Am I a Nintendo fanboy? Sure. Do I hate PlayStation? No. Do I hate Xbox 360? No. But I do observe things. I went to Target yesterday, and I was looking at Nintendo Wii. They have it in black now, and it's at a good price, a price that I wouldn't mind paying for. Then I looked at the games and noticed there's a lot of cheap games on the Wii. Now, as a Nintendo fanboy, I could say that without being disappointed, because this is how GameCube was in a way. A lot of crappy games, just rushed out, just using the motion control, and parents are victims of purchasing these games for their kids. Well, I guess the kids are more of the victim because they have to play them. But there's only really a handful of must-buy games on the Wii until, of course, Zelda comes out, and Other M, and Donkey Kong Country Returns, and maybe Epic, Mickey, and those games shown at E3 this year that got everyone excited, because like, wow, finally Nintendo Wii's gonna have some games to play. And I know they have some games to play right now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they don't, but looking on the shelves at Target, it didn't look too promising. So why do I still want to buy a Wii? Well, because you got a Virtual Console. There's a whole bunch of games on the Virtual Console I want to play and buy, and of course Nintendo's very dear to my heart. I love it. I just don't know, but where are we derived from? That's a whole nother conversation, as in like, stems when you're a kid and you have that system you love so much and you have to defend it because, well, you have it and it's just fun. And then there comes a time when you're my age. I'm not that old, of course, in retrospect, but to a lot of you guys watching, you're in school and stuff, but the point is, like, when you're like 26 years old and you're still saying, well, Nintendo Wii is better than PlayStation 3 because of this, then you might want to start looking yourself in the mirror and asking yourself, is it time to grow up? Maybe, maybe not. I choose to grow up, but at the same time, I'll be a Nintendo fanboy because, that's what keeps me young in a way. Mario, Link, Metroid, those games, and playing those games today, it takes me back, as in, reminds me of the good times. And even like playing my Super NES now and N64, it just brings you back to a time in your life where, like, it was fun playing these games. Video games are meant to be fun, not to be a whole big deal of fighting over which one is better. I don't know. It's not really a serious conversation, but some people take being a fanboy way too seriously, and you just gotta calm down. Of course, on the internet, you can say whatever you want nowadays. Because back then, it was just between your friends, but now, you say you like Nintendo Wii, and it's the best console ever made, you write that in a YouTube comment, you will be destroyed. And people who have done it know that I'm telling the truth. And I know I'm telling the truth because I've done it. Just to be like funny, like, oh, Nintendo's way better because of this, So that's what I think. What do you guys think? Why are you a fanboy? Are you a fanboy? Do you not care? Be honest with yourself too. You've had this conversation with your friends. You have an Xbox 360, your friend has a PS3, and you say Xbox 360 is better than PS3, and this is why. Like, if you've done that, you're a fanboy. Don't deny it. Don't deny it. Don't deny it. You're a fanboy if you said that. What do you think? Where does the fanboy come from? How did you become a fanboy? Are you a fanboy? Do you think fanboys are stupid, dumb, lame? What are your opinions? Let me know. Comments, video response. I'd like to know what you think. Thanks, guys. We'll talk again later. It's AG, signing off.